Let's be real. The supplement industry is a jungle. It's filled with slick marketing, big promises, and honestly, a lot of noise. So today, we're going to cut right through all of that. What actually helps you build muscle? And what's just going to drain your wallet? We're going to rank the most popular supplements out there, all based on the actual science. But before we dive in, let me ask you something. What if the single most powerful muscle builder in the world isn't something you can buy in a bottle at all? Just kind of let that thought simmer in the back of your mind as we go through our list of 8 popular supplements to see what really, truly works. Okay, so to keep this whole thing legit and objective, we're going to grade every single supplement on 3 key things. First, and most important, the science. Is there solid, repeatable research that says this stuff works? Second, the cost. I want to know how much money you actually have to spend to gain 1 single pound of new muscle. And third, side effects. Are there any downsides we need to worry about? Let's get started, and we're going to begin at the bottom of the barrel with what I'm calling the overhyped letdowns. You know the ones, they promise you the world, but when you actually look at the evidence, well, the story changes. First up, testosterone boosters. Man, these things are everywhere, but they land squarely in our F tier. Here's why. While some of them might give you a little 15% bump in testosterone, the research is super clear that's just not enough to actually move the needle on muscle growth. Now, it might help your mood or libido a bit if you're on the lower end, but for actually building mass, yeah, it's a no-go. And then you've got this stuff you've probably seen all over social media, Turkesterone. Influencers are out there making these huge claims, promising you'll get steroid-like gains with, none of the side effects. It sounds incredible, right? But here's the reality check. Turkesterone is what's called an ectosteroid. It's a steroid hormone that plants and insects use to protect themselves. The whole theory was, hey, maybe it works on humans too. The problem? A big study in 2023 found that most turkesterone products you can buy don't even have what the label says they have. And even if they did, there's just no solid data it works in people. So for now, it's a firm D tier. Okay, moving up a level, we get to our helpful with a catch category. Now, these are supplements that can work, but their effectiveness really depends on who you are and how you're using them. And a perfect example of this is the story of HMB. Back in the 90s, some early studies came out with these insane, almost unbelievable results. But then, other researchers started to look closer at that data, and study after study just couldn't replicate those findings. So where are we today? The general agreement is there's no real benefit for people who are already trained lifters. There might be a tiny half-pound to 1 pound boost for someone who is brand new to the gym, and that puts it in C tier with a very big if. Next up, mass gainer. This stuff is made for that classic hard gainer who just can't seem to eat enough food. And really, it's just protein powder mixed with a ton of sugar and carbs. And yeah, it works for cramming in calories, but you are paying a huge premium for what is basically a protein shake and a candy bar. I mean, depending on the brand, the cost can run anywhere from $50 to over $300 per pound of lean mass gained. For that price, it lands in B tier. So what about something like fish oil? It's amazing for your heart and your brain health, we know that. But for muscle? Well, the science gets a little conditional. It seems to help older, untrained adults add a pound or two of lean mass, but that effect gets much smaller for younger people who are already training. And at a cost of over $100 per pound of muscle, it's a fantastic health supplement for sure, but for muscle building specifically, it's a C tier. Alright, let's get to the good stuff, the proven champions. These are the supplements that are actually backed by solid research, that are cost effective, and that, well, they just deliver. Protein powder is a staple for a very good reason. It's most effective if you're someone who isn't already getting enough protein from your food. We're talking less than about half a gram per pound of your body weight. If that sounds like you, then adding a scoop or two can help you pack on an extra 1 to 2 pounds of lean mass over 3 months. And hey, don't stress about whey versus plant-based. Long-term studies show they're both equally effective. It's a solid, well-deserved A tier. But now we meet the king, creatine. This is one of the most researched supplements on the entire planet. So how effective is it? Get this. On average, people who take it gain an extra 3 pounds of lean mass in just 8 to 12 weeks compared to those who don't. That is a significant result, something you can actually see in the mirror. But there's always been this one major fear that holds people back, right? The dreaded rumor that creatine causes hair loss. It is the #1 concern people bring up. So what does the science actually say? Let's settle this. This is a perfect example of how science evolves over time. The entire scare came from one single study back in 2009 that found a minor increase in a hormone called DHT, which, yes, is linked to hair loss. But, and this is a big but, they didn't actually measure hair loss itself. So, fast forward to 2023, a new, much more direct study looked at everything and found that creatine caused no change in DHT and no change in hair follicle health. So yeah, that fear, it seems it was pretty much unfounded. So, creatine passes all our tests with flying colors. It's scientifically proven, it has no significant side effects, and it is incredibly cheap, costing just $7.70 per pound of lean mass gained. It easily earns its S tier rank. Just one little warning for you, try to avoid the creatine gummies. Creatine is unstable in water, and by the time you eat those gummies, a lot of it is probably broken down into a useless substance. Just stick with the powder. Okay, so creatine is S tier, but what could possibly be S plus tier? I'm talking about a supplement so powerful it can produce results that look like you're on steroids. And the craziest part of all? You already have it. This whole thing starts with an incredible study from all the way back in 1972. Researchers took a bunch of well-trained college athletes and tracked their progress for 8 weeks. Then, for the next 4 weeks, they gave them this secret sauce. The results were staggering. In just half the time, their strength gains were 3 to 7 times greater. What on earth was in this stuff? The results were so shocking that a modern researcher actually decided to see if he could replicate this effect with his friend, a guy named Dennis. So he told Dennis he was taking a powerful new supplement called Muscle Max 100 that was guaranteed to help him set new personal records. Now, before taking this supplement, Dennis's personal best on pull-ups was 2. You know, a solid effort, but definitely with some room for improvements. After taking Muscle Max 100 and letting it kick in for about 10 minutes, Dennis stepped up to the bar and he cranked out 5 pull-ups. He more than doubled his previous record. So, what was this magic supplement? And here it is, the big twist. There was no secret ingredient. The supplements in that 1972 study and the Muscle Max 100 that Dennis took, they were both placebos. Just sugar kills. The athletes believed they were taking something powerful, so they lifted with more confidence and pushed themselves harder than ever before. The incredible gains were driven entirely by belief. And that brings us to the ultimate truth of all of this. Even the very best supplements like creatine and protein powder only account for a tiny fraction of your results. The real drivers of growth, the things that really matter, are and always will be your training, your nutrition, your recovery, and that absolute powerhouse that is your mindset. Which leaves us with one final, powerful question to think about. We just saw that the placebo effect, just pure belief, was enough to more than double someone's personal record. So, if belief alone can be that powerful, what do you truly believe you're capable of?